Okay, welcome along, guys, to this evening's session. I've changed the time to 6 p.m. Oh, that's a bit slow. Changed the time to 6 p.m. So welcome along. 6 p.m. WA time, so that works out to be at the moment 8 over East. And I think that means 7:30 for South Australia, depending on how close you are or where you are. But anyway, tonight was put together on the basis of indigestion. So I asked, what do you want to talk about? And Annette popped in the group indigestion. I thought, well, I can sit here and talk to you about indigestion, or I can find a video that Jesse and I did together, which I actually will do many, many years ago when he was on his journey with doTERRA, with digestion in particular, and peppermint actually, and helping him with his digestive support. So we might talk about that towards the end. But I thought, why don't I just go on a little bit of an anatomical journey with you, right? So this should be very entertaining for me anyway. And please, by all means, let me know if you've got any questions. So tonight we're going to have a look at the digestive system. And we're going to I'll just make sure that I can get it to work. Hang on. There we go. So we're going to have a chat about the digestive system. I want to share with you what it actually is, talk about the bits in it and what problems may happen with those pieces. So they're a little bit more than indigestion, but I will focus on digestive concerns versus all the other stuff that can malfunction in that area. And then I want to talk to you about nutrient absorption and then just some suggestions, okay, towards the end. So it won't take us too long, but as you can see on the screen, I'm talking about the role of the digestive system there, which is to basically break down your food, right? We know that, okay? And I want you to remember, we'll talk about it as we go through, but the digestive system starts with your mouth and ends with your anus. And that's the easiest way, right? It's a long tube that's all curled up and shoved in there with a whole heap of other parts in the middle. And yeah, and the basic role of it is to break food down. Now, all the way along, stuff can happen, but yeah, you get the drift. So sorry if if you did biology at school and this is not your most favorite subject, but because I really want to help people from a health perspective, let's learn the human body together and see how we can fit things in, right? So it starts with your mouth, and it's not just that we've got these teeth that are meant to cut, chew, and grind, etc., and break down our food. But that point, when your food enters your mouth, and part of it is your sense of smell as well, but when it enters your mouth, it triggers your digestive juices to start kicking into gear in your stomach, which helps to break the food down when it finally gets into there. So the chewing function in your mouth serves a purpose. And I do remember being told that if you drink a lot of liquid, you're not going to activate the digestive juices, right? So if you do fasting, and I am digressing a little bit, but when we do fasting, we're just drinking a liquid, and that's okay because we want to give the digestive system a rest, is the idea with that. But if you are wanting to introduce smoothies, for example, and you want to actually activate your stomach or your gut to get things going, then you can just do that chewing motion while you've got the smoothie in your mouth. Now, that leads to other things, which I'll share in a minute. But for most of us, our mouth and the anatomy of our mouth, our throat, etc., works really well, okay? Some people, it doesn't work so well, but talking about mainstream, okay? Now, uh, we might as well focus this on indigestion, hey? So before I go any further, I'm going to give you the definition, the dictionary definition. This is from the Heritage Dictionary of the English Language, 5th edition, and it defines indigestion as a noun. And the first definition is indigestion is the inability to digest or difficulty in digesting something, especially food. Second, discomfort or illness resulting from this inability or difficulty. Third, discomfort due to a lack of proper digestive action, a failure of the normal changes which food should undergo in the alimentary canal, dyspepsia, incomplete or difficult digestion. So that's getting more descriptive. The fourth, a common medical condition, most often caused by eating too quickly. And five, a disorder of digestive function characterized by discomfort or heartburn or nausea. So they're your definitions of indigestion. Now, I'm stopping here at the mouth because I want you to understand that with indigestion, we have to realize that it is a part of the gut-brain axis. It's stuff that's going on there. I'm going to read some other stuff to you in a minute from a different book. But we need to slow down when we are chewing our food. Often what happens for people, not everyone, but often what happens is indigestion and that blockage up the top, you can feel it around your solar plexus or just below your ribs often. And what that is blocking is just here. That's where you feel it. That's the top of your tummy, right? That's the top of your stomach. And ignoring any GERDs or any of that sort of stuff. If you've just overeaten or you're eating too quickly, you're not chewing your food properly. So it will fit down the windpipe and down the piping. But when it gets to here, it gets stuck. There's your pain, right? Anyway, so step number one to help with indigestion. Chew your food consciously. Be mindful. Slow down. Swallow. Okay, your esophagus is the tube. So, sorry, when I said windpipe, that's wrong. Windpipe goes to your lungs. You don't want it to go down your windpipe. But anyway, so there's your esophagus. Your esophagus is the start of that channel, if you like. So you put the food in the mouth. This is your tongue. Your tongue's a muscle. It's going to push the food up. You swallow, and then it comes down, goes into your tummy. Now, we're going to jump around a little bit here too, because these organs, they don't just sit here on their own. They are all interconnected, right? So your liver is really important as well, and that's your gallbladder in there, but I'm jumping ahead. So your liver releases bile into the intestines via the gallbladder. When you get gallstones and things like that, you probably got an issue with bile, but that's digressing. We're focusing on indigestion, okay? And we want our liver to be happy and functioning effectively because that helps with cholesterol too. That's a whole other story. Anyway, stomach. So there's your technical side of things. It's a muscular bag that contains acid, mixes food and drink with the acid. So that's what helps breaks it down, right? So you can have issues here that may trigger indigestion. And that's because that little valve that sits at the top there isn't closing properly and it's allowing the food and the acid to go up, and that can cause you heartburn and that sort of jazz. But again, a lot of times, if you can be mindful with the way that you're eating, so just slow down. If you have to eat on the run, maybe it's best to not eat until you can actually sit still or stand still and chew your food and eat properly. Okay, the key is to be calm. But sometimes you've got a little bit of an issue there with that particular little flap. They call it a sphincter. It's got another big name, but to me, it's a valve. It's meant to open to let the food go in and then shut. But sometimes what happens with people and with babies too, when they get colic, example, it doesn't shut properly. And so you get the acid issue and the burning and blah, blah, blah. The other thing that I want you to understand is indigestion. Okay, your heart's in this little spot too. So sometimes indigestion, because it's hanging out with the heart so close, can be an indicator of cardiac stuff happening as well. So just be mindful with that. The pancreas breaks down your lipids, your proteins, and your carbs. So that's why they talk about it with the sugar. The sugar is the carbs. Remember, we're talking about indigestion here, but I'm just going to leave that in there anyway. Your gallbladder, I do talk a little bit about this. Why? Because the gallstones, right? It's got more to do with bile than the actual stone buildup. But if you do have gallstones, kidney stones, all that sort of jazz, lemon is your best friend and lemongrass. But yeah, let's just, sometimes you can have gallstones and things because it's the duct that runs between the liver and the gall bladder. sometimes that can cause you a bit of pain and stuff in your cavity as well. So it might not be what you think it is. It's best to acknowledge that that whole unit is really tightly packed together and maybe something else is going on. Anyway, now, malabsorption, maldigestion is one thing, malabsorption is another, and a lot of things for malabsorption happen in the stomach. So maybe your stomach's not functioning effectively, and maybe it's hurting and it actually needs a rest to repair itself. Could be too acidic, could be not acidic enough. There's heaps of stuff that can happen. But in the small intestines and the large intestines is where we start to absorb nutrients, okay? So there can be stuff going on in there as well. Absorbing food and water. So I don't know, it depends what you read, right? But your intestines are a lot of tubing. And all of that tubing is lined with all these little hairy fingers, which is what you can see on the screen. I like this. I like this slideshow because it's really simple. But that's called villi or villi. And they've got to have a good blood supply from your capillaries, so there can be circulatory issues going on. Now, this is where external abdominal massage really helps as well. And again, slowing down when you eat your food activates a whole heap of things, but also giving yourself the time to rest after you eat. So you can eat your food and then go for a very calm, gentle walk, not a run or a sprint. There's a reason for that, but just gentle, calm movement. Not a lot of stretching. Obviously, if any of you have ever eaten a heap of food and then bent over, you know how it feels. Or had to run out the door. Sometimes you get cramp. What do you get the cramp for? Because your digestive system is switched off and it's full. But we want to make sure that we slow everything down so that your nutrients can be absorbed, because your body's doing a lot of work when it's digesting. This is why fasting can be so good for us on a regular basis. Not every day. You can do the intermittent fasting if that suits your goals, but it's just good to give your digestive system a bit of a rest. The other thing to understand while we're looking at this is if you have bloating lower down, and you're not clearing your waste effectively, abdominal massage will help with that. Because often or sometimes that bloating can just be a buildup of sludge, which you're meant to be extricating and getting rid of. Okay, large intestines, where your food goes when it can't be broken down any further, because your large intestine's connected to your rectum and your anus, because that's what gets rid of the large pieces of wastage. Because your water is absorbed through your blood. So you can have issues in both the small intestine and the large intestine. You have issues in your stomach. You can have issues with the little tract that goes down here, because that actually joins. So stomach here going down, and that's joining into both the large intestine but also the small intestines, which is actually pretty cool. Okay, so undigested food stored there as poo, and then you get rid of it. This is the why, when we look at this, right? Maybe we go back. Picture's not really clear. Oh, that one. This is why we do abdominal massage from left to right. Sorry, from right to left. So, that's your appendix. So some of us don't have that little bit anymore. But anyway, so if you want help with constipation relief, because that's when you've got blockages happening, okay, all along here, can just be in the rectum too. But you want to massage from, so you go from the bottom of the right-hand side and you massage up, across, down. So it goes from the right side, you're going to draw your hands up with semi-firm pressure, across, and then you go down. All right, that's your abdominal massage, and that will actually help with the flow and the movement of anything that may be stuck in there. And if you use your essential oils, it helps it even more. We know all about this sort of stuff, right? Okay, so that's the end of our little digestive system talk on what the digestive system actually is. Now, what I want to do is I want to have a chat to you about indigestion in particular. And probably, how do I want to do this? If we talk about the so indigestion, like I said already, is an issue with the digestion of food. So that falls under a disorder of the gastrointestinal area or gastrointestinal system, gastrointestinal function. The gastrointestinal system is one of 17 systems, I believe, from memory. And it's a long hollow tube that extends from the mouth to the anus. Food and fluids enter the GI tract, do not become part of the internal environment until they've been broken down and absorbed into the blood or lymph channels. So the stomach sits within the upper gastrointestinal tract. I talked already about how one of the issues with indigestion can be the valve not working effectively on that top part. But there can be other things going on as well, okay? The esophagus opens into the stomach through an opening called the cardiac orifice, named because of its proximity to the heart. The small part of the stomach that surrounds the cardiac orifice is called the cardiac region. The dome-shaped region that bulges above the cardiac region is called the fundus. Food and gases can get stuck in that bit, right? That's that top curve of the tummy. And that causes you bloating and a few other issues as well. So you sort of want to pay attention to where in your body is the bloat happening. And that gives you a bit of a hint as to what may be going on. I'm just going to escape from that for a second. Okay. He gets to listen to the please. Wait for us to go out and join his brother. Now, there's a whole heap of things going on in the body that can be causing us grief. But let's just focus on the digestion of food for now, all right? I wanted to flick into, this is actually a back office view of some of the training that I get to do. And the reason I wanted to flick to this, it might be a bit small. I'm sorry, but I don't know how to make my screen bigger. But what we got happening here, right, is if you have a look here, this purpley color is neurological. So what the research and studies have found is that all of these things which are purple are linked to neurological concerns. Green is your metabolic concerns, yellow autoimmune, pinky, I don't know, flamingo on my phone, but immunological issues, okay? So I wanted to show you here functional dyspepsia and GERDs, because these are reflux things. Dyspepsia, ulcerative, okay? See the different colors? With indigestion, you are going to find that the majority of it is the brain-gut axis, okay? But also the vagus nerve. That's why I had that book open. So the vagus nerve is attached to the brain, the heart, and the stomach, and it wanders around. Vagus is like, the vagus nerve is named after vagabond, which is the wanderer. So what we've got with that is there is an issue there with communication, and the latest research, or I say latest, but it's probably been in the last 10 years, is all around that brain-gut axis. The Mind-Gut Connection was a fantastic book that I read just recently. So I'm just going to read a few things for you, and then we'll talk about strategies, and I'll give you some suggestions to help with that, right? But I'm going to keep this screen up just so you can see that. Oops. Okay, so you are what you eat. Now, I'm going to read this from the Mind-Gut Connection. This was a quote by Jean Anthelme Brilliat Savarin, a French lawyer, physician, and author of the influential 19th century book on the physiology of taste, okay? Tell me what you eat, and I will tell you who you are, was his quote. Now, the gentleman that wrote the book that I'm reading from said back in 1826, when this guy wrote this, he could not have known about gut microbes being the mediators on how food affects mental well-being and important brain functions. The gut microbiota residing at the interface between our gut and our nervous systems are in a key position to link our physical and mental well-being directly to what we eat and drink, and in turn link our feelings and emotions to the processing of our food. So just let that sink in for a minute. Your gut gathers information about your food and your environment every millisecond, and it does this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even as you sleep. Much of this information gathering occurs in the stomach and the beginning of the small intestine, where only a small number of microbes reside and where their contribution to the gut-brain dialogue is likely to be small. The well-being of your gut microbes depends on the food you eat, and they are more or less programmed in their food preferences during the first few years of life. However, regardless of their original programming, they can digest virtually everything you feed them, regardless of whether you're an omnivore or a pescatarian, so that's somebody that only eats fish, and vegetables, no matter what you feed them. They will use their enormous amount of information stored in their millions of genes to transform partially digested food into hundreds of thousands of metabolites. Even though we are only at the beginning of understanding what effects these metabolites have on our body, we know some of them profoundly affect the GI tract, including its nerves and immune cells. That's when we start to have the issues, right? A particularly important role of such micro-produced molecules is their ability to induce a state of low-grade inflammation in their target organs, which has been implicated in obesity, heart disease, chronic pain, and degenerative diseases of the brain, think Parkinson's. These inflammatory molecules and their effect on certain brain regions may well be a major clue to the understanding of many human brain disorders. So pay attention to what you're eating, but also pay attention to what is inside you is eating, which sounds pretty trippy. Now, there's two other sections in here that I will mention. One of them is around irritants. So this is like a statistic, but nearly 15% of the US population suffers from a range of aberrant gut reactions, including irritable bowel syndrome, chronic constipation, indigestion, and functional heartburn, which all fall into the category of brain gut disorders. They suffer from symptoms that range from queasiness, gurgling, and bloating all the way to unbearable pain. Amazingly, the majority of patients suffering from abnormal gut reactions have no idea that their gut problems reflect their emotional state, and even more amazingly, most of the time, neither do their doctors. Now, that's a US stat, but it's similar in Australia. We have to be aware that the gut is a mirror of our emotional facial expressions as well. So you sort of got to, that takes you back to that mindfulness section, right? 59. The other thing that is, then this is, now we're going to get more into the prescriptive stuff, like what can we do about what we eat, right? So let me just go back to this. Becky, just come and join me. Oh, I'm at the end. Get out of that. So being mindful about how you feel and your chewing and all that sort of jazz, right? That's your mouth side of things. But then being mindful of what it is that you actually put into your gut. And this is going to help you with your esophageal reaction. Let's just jump the liver for a second and sit around the stomach, okay? So the section of this book actually talked about chemical sensitivity and the receptors in our body. So there's all of our cells have receptors, okay, and our receptors have certain jobs, but you can sense with your gut. So take a bite of juicy hamburger, enjoy a piece of fresh, crispy baguette, savour a cup of New England clam chowder, or revel in the exquisite flavour of a good piece of chocolate. What do you taste? The answer will be supplied to you by the collection of receptors located on the taste buds on your tongue. These molecules embedded in the outer membrane of a cell recognize the specific chemicals in anything you eat or drink, as a lock recognizes a key. When this receptor binds to such a chemical on a food item, it sends a message to your brain, and your brain constructs the particular taste from the stems of sensory information it receives from your mouth and tongue. So you've got to remember that everything in the human body is connected. We are one whole unit, okay? But it's more than just our tongue. Some of these receptors are activated by specific molecules found in herbs and spices like garlic, chili pepper, mustard, and wasabi, while others respond to menthol, camphor, peppermint, cooling agents, and even cannabis. To date, 28 of these so-called phytochemical receptors, so these are receptors that recognize specific chemicals in plants, have been identified in the mouse intestine alone. So they're looking at this on mice. There's no reason to doubt that our human intestines have a similar or even greater diversity of receptors that are sensitive to a variety of chemicals contained, blah, 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 blah. Most of us use herbs and spices, but what they've done is they've actually started to look into this a little bit further. And those of us who believe in natural treatments actually eat a lot of herbs and spices. We use a lot of herbs and spices. And herbologists will tell you the same thing as well, okay? Or herbalists. In many parts of the world, if you think about this, there's cultures like India and Mexico that they use chili peppers a lot. Persian food has an assortment of fresh herbs and yogurt. And Moroccan tea, you wouldn't have Moroccan tea without peppermint. So science is starting to finally catch up with this, okay? And the biggest thing is that the consumption of fresh herbs helps your digestive system. I know for me, for example, parsley, the plant parsley, putting that in a salad, it does two things or three things. Parsley cleanses your palate. So it's actually really good for your teeth and the microorganism, the environment that's in your mouth. I know a lot of people just see it as a garnish on a meal, but if you eat it, it actually helps with that, which then in turn helps to freshen your breath. But parsley also helps in the gut area and down further because it helps to alleviate gassiness, but it also helps with parasites, which is a digression, but pretty cool. So, yeah, we know herbs are medicine. Okay, I've got a book on the floor, which I'm going to read you some stuff from in a minute. But the biggest thing is mint or peppermint. And peppermint was and still is one of the main oils that we have in the house, apart from lemon. Lemon and peppermint essential oils are so important for our little household because of that assistance with your digestive system. All right. Peppermint is in digestzen or zengest, which is the doTERRA blends. Zengest in Australia, digestzen in the US. It used to be called digestzen in Australia as well. But peppermint is so, so important in terms of helping with indigestion. So you can have a cup of peppermint tea after you've had your meal. And if we think about the liver and all of the organs actually, drinking your water during the day with a little bit of lemon in it, ideally a drop of lemon essential oil, doTERRA essential oil, is fantastic. Okay. Now, what else? What else? What else? I have two other books which I'm going to share some info from. Let's get off this screen now, hey? Stop share. Show you my face. Hello. Okay, so two little books here that I'll share with you. The first one, so I love op shopping. So this is the first book. It's called Super Herbs. And Super Herbs was written by Mitchell Beasley. Mitchell that wrote it or Michael? Oh, sorry, Mitchell Beasley. Oh, I'll put the link up for it anyway. Welcome to Learning with me. Herbs for Healing, for Health and Healing, Michael Van Straten, sorry. Mitchell Beasley is the publishing people. So, in this book, it's got heaps of really cool information. But one of the best herbs that he talks about, and I know this from an essential oil perspective, is Melissa or lemon balm. So lemon balm is amazing for helping to support our digestive system, turning on the stomach juices, getting things going. And if you've ever flatlined because you've overeaten or you just need to ramp your digestive system up, you can smell Melissa. You can also just put a drop on the roof of your mouth. So you put it in the palm of your hand, stick your thumb in it, push it to the roof of your mouth. Lemon balm, for some people, might seem a little bit expensive, but it's super important for other things. So I digress. Let's go back to this book. So, indigestion. He lists in here super herbs for indigestion being anise seeds, chamomile, fennel, and mint. When you have a summer salad, fennel and blood orange is really popular. There's no coincidences with this, right? Fennel is really good for your digestive system. But the effect, anise seeds and fennel are excellent remedies for indigestion. Chamomile helps relieve abdominal distension, and mint is the most effective remedy of all, relieving indigestion almost instantly. So your peppermint is super important. doTERRA have also got a blend now called Super Mint. I find it really handy as well. So if you haven't got your peppermint, you can get peppermint beadlets as well, and you can just pop a couple of peppermint beadlets. Happy days. So how to use? Use anise seeds, and fennel to make tea and drink a cup after each meal. So that's one example. Drink a cup of chamomile tea between meals. That's another example. For me, that wouldn't go so well because I actually don't like the taste of chamomile. But, you know, if you do, take a glass of mint tea sweetened with a little honey after each meal and at bedtime. That would be really nice. So just warm your water. So boil your kettle, but don't make it super hot. Pour it into your, if you get a French press, it makes it heaps easy to make herbal teas. Put your mint in it, fresh mint in it. Let that steep for a little while. Pour it into your cup, and then you can put in a little tiny bit of honey. And you could drink that after your meal or before you go to bed. Golden lattes or golden tea is amazing as well. Fantastic. It's got turmeric in it. I nearly gave you the influenza stuff. So that's really good. You can use your doTERRA oils because they're easier to travel with. Just get some peppermint beadlets or super mint beadlets and pop them. They're going to help support you with your indigestion, especially if you know where it's originating from and what's going on. Now, the other book that I actually quite like is this one, which is a NutriBullet book. So, Discovering the Healing Power of Nutrient Infusions. You can get this at op shops too. Yeah, it cost me $2, so I'm pretty sure I got this one from an op shop. I liked it because it's got recipes in it. So the biggest thing with your gut as well is to recognize, or with anything in the body, is to recognize that a symptom is just a message. It's like the engine light in the car. It's giving you a message. It's flashing at you. You don't just treat the symptom to stop it. You start to look at the symptom and you identify ways to ease the system, which mint, okay, fennel, anise, go with the mint first, but you look at ways to ease the system. You can also do an abdominal massage with zengest or digestzen. Just a drop, or even peppermint, a drop, some carrier oil, massage it on. You can do the abdominal massage to help you with the constipation, but if it's because of indigestion or reflux, just get it and put it where the pain is, okay? Or it could be up here if it's heartburn, could be down further. But what I want you to remember is that that is not where it ends. You then need to start doing your homework into understanding why you've got the issue to begin with. Because it could be something going on with other sections in your body. Could be something like GERD, where you've got to address some other simple issues. Maybe you need to start doing more than just being mindful when you eat. Perhaps you need to start eliminating things that you eat or things that you do. Maybe you need to incorporate more meditation, calming techniques. But the other thing too is remembering all the other organs that I talked about. So the liver was in there too, the gallbladder's in there. So if there's things going on with them, they might be talking to you that way as well. So remember that the liver is an integral part of the digestive system. It's the largest internal organ in the body. It's actually bigger than your stomach and performs critical functions, like over 500 functions. It's the gateway, really, and medications, all those things. Nothing, drugs, anything, smells, nothing that we internalize goes anywhere without checking, without that liver checking it out. So it's like border patrol, if you like. The liver is your border patrol. So we want to look after that and help it to make bile, to break down fat, to process nutrients, to make them available for the rest of the body, to build proteins, and to convert food into glucose for energy. Some of the main conditions to affect the digestive system are nausea and vomiting, constipation, diarrhea and gas, dyspepsia or indigestion, heartburn, reflux, GERDs, peptic ulcers, Helicobacter pylori infections, IBS, irritable bowel disease as well, so IBD, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, celiac disease, fatty liver, cirrhosis of the liver, colorectal cancer, and liver cancer. So it's really important to us to look after the digestive system, and that in turn will help our body. So I'm just going to list a couple of foods for you, and maybe I'll take some photos. You can tell me, right? Maybe I'll take some photos of the digestive infusions that they suggest, if you want to go down that track too. Yeah, let's do this first. So the following foods will help your digestive system. I apologize about the quality of this image that you're getting to. I'll work it out eventually. Who cares? You can hear me. So the first thing is beetroot. So it's rich in fiber, potassium, and magnesium, so it helps with constipation. The greens from your beetroot, so that's the leafy parts on the top, and also silver beet. They're rich in beta carotene. So beta carotene is super important for your eyesight as well, and liver links to eyesight. So many connections. Okay, so high in beta carotene, iron, and calcium. Apples. Apples are actually rich in fiber. An apple a day literally does help to keep the doctor away. I always joke about that, but it's true. Vitamin C, vitamin A, folate, minerals, potassium, phosphorus, extremely beneficial. Okay, so apples are really good. Bananas are also good because they're good for fiber, but they're also really good for potassium, and they help to restore normal bowel functions and reduce constipation. Some people can't have bananas. I understand that, so no worries. Kiwi fruit is really good as well. Just make sure you get things in season as well, unless you're going to start doing freeze drying or whatever. Kiwi fruit's packed with linoleic acid, vitamins C and E, magnesium and potassium. Helps with function. Blueberries, if you can get wild blueberries, amazing. Make sure you wash everything, okay? Peaches, tomatoes and carrots, sweet potato, avocado, whole grains, live bacteria, so this is yogurt. Think about that sort of stuff. Fermented foods such as kimchi, miso. Miso is really nice as a little hot cup of soup, a warm cup of soup. Sauerkraut and kefir. Ginger, amazing. Okay, you can make your own ginger pickle. That will help with your digestion of food as well, and that in turn should assist you with your indigestion. To make your own ginger pickle, to do it that way, because I have told a few people this lately, especially people that are having stomach issues. Get a knob of ginger about the size of your thumb, peel it, and then slice it like matchsticks. Put it into a jar and put the juice of 1 lemon in. That should cover it, and then stick it in the fridge. And then what you want to do is at least half an hour before you eat your meal, chew a piece of the ginger, or you can just do it at least 3 times a day, or you can use essential oil. So ginger's good. Cucumber, fantastic for hydrating the internal system, but cucumber juice can help to relieve heartburn, gastritis, and ulcers. It also contains erythrin, which aids with proper digestion as well. So that's juicing the cucumber, which you peel it, you de-seed it. There's a lot involved in juicing cucumber. Lemon juice in water. Water dilution protects your tooth enamel, while the enzyme enhancing qualities of lemon protects your gut lining. Use the essential oil. You skip that enamel issue altogether, and then cod liver oil if you really want to go down that track. You want to make sure that you're always hydrated, and that will help you too. So that's a big list of fruits and veggies that you can incorporate that will help you. I'll take a snapshot of some of these, but an example of one of the digestive infusions is for indigestion. So this one focuses on indigestion, obesity, Alzheimer's, and cardiovascular disease. It's called Festive Digestive. This colourful collective of fruit is designed to excite digestive enzymes, fire up friendly bacteria, and cheer on the absorption of nutrients to get your system feeling good. 1 banana, 2 apricots, half a cup of blueberries, 1 kiwi fruit peeled, 1 cup of water, and a tablespoon of wheat germ. Blitz it all together and drink away. It's actually a good book, okay? So you can get a lot of information from a lot of different sources. I want you to remember that indigestion, as it is most likely mind-gut connection. So look after the bit in the middle. And you do that by slowing down, chewing your food well. Maybe you can listen to calming music instead of watching the television. Maybe you can just sit there in silence and eat your food. Don't sit there and scroll at the same time. Buddhism talks about that a lot. And then when you finish your dinner, maybe sip on some peppermint tea, put 1 drop of doTERRA peppermint in your warm water and sip on that, or pop a peppermint beadlet, something like that. Maybe you get some digest tabs, which you can get from the US. Instead of using Rennie and all that other sort of jazz, you can use the digest tabs. Maybe you can use the digestzen soft gels, but just slow it all down, okay? Then start to look at what's happening. You can use inhalation to help you as well. Inhalation of ginger essential oil will assist you with digestion, help you with nausea. You can use your abdominal massaging as well. And I think that's it. I've given you some ideas for herbs. Talk a little bit about, I would look into vagus nerve work and meditation, just to start to slow everything down. Oh, that was what I was going to tell you. Fasting is a good thing. You don't have to eat all the time. You can give your digestive system a rest and let it repair itself. If you want to go down that journey, maybe we need to have a chat, but you can learn about that. You can also then remember that you have a gut lining, and that, when I say a gut lining, I'm talking from the mouth all the way down, that you want to support and repair. Lemon will help with that. So will bone broth, good quality bone broth, one that you make yourself, a good quality bone broth. So you can use that to help you on your healing journey. You can use some of the different infusions, nutrient infusions. You can use frankincense, and you don't need to take a lot of oils, okay? You can just massage them topically onto that section that's hurting you. Learn about the reflexology points in your hands or in your feet or in your ears. Use your calming blends to calm your system, your parasympathetic nervous system, to calm everything down, okay? Because our digestive system is linked to the ANS and the PNS. So we're using both systems. We're using 3 systems actually, but both nervous systems when we are using the digestive system, because if you go into fight or flight, it will shut down that digestive section of your body. Henceforth, why it's not a good idea to exercise, run, those sort of things on a full stomach. You're better off to eat, wait at least half an hour so that food's had time to be absorbed. Now, the last thing that I want to say to you is in terms of absorption. Some people have an issue with absorbing nutrients. We know this, okay? And this will be popping up for you because you don't feel well, and you eat healthy, and you try all these different things, and you're on all this medication, but you still don't feel well. You feel pain, you got issues. Maybe it's because you're not absorbing the nutrients, because you've got issues going on. So what I suggest you do is hold your food when you've got massive issues, you want to be moving more to liquid supplements, liquid infusions, but hold it in your mouth. Why? Hold it in your mouth for 30 seconds to a minute, because that allows the absorption through the mucosa, which is under your tongue and in your cheeks and things in the roof of your mouth. It allows it to go into your body and into your bloodstream, and then you'll start to absorb your nutrients. And if you can slow down and do that and actually be mindful, then you will start to notice that your body responds better to the supplementation that you're using. Order of preference is liquid. This is for herbals. This is for supplements, even for medicines. For me, anyway, this is my order of preference that I give to other people and also for myself. Liquid first and foremost, because then you can use the mucosa in your mouth as well as the absorption all the way down. Second is lozenges, so you can suck on them. You'll notice that normally when someone has angina or some other issue cardiac-wise, they give them a pill that they put under their tongue so they don't swallow anything. Maybe your stomach needs a rest from all of the medications. Start to talk to people and see if you can actually get them changed to something more easily accessible through the mouth. And then you can always use sprays. So you can get some things that are a spray. Some of those heart medications are a spray as well, or put up your nose, that sort of jazz. So that's the presentation tonight, the Oily Hour of Power. I did it on the digestive system with a focus on indigestion. Tried my hardest not to digress across too much. This video has been recorded, so I upload it and you can learn from it. You can ask me any questions that you like. If you want me to go a little bit further into anything, please let me know. Just take it that slow down. Remember, it's a brain-gut connection. Treat it as the indicator light to tell you that there's something else going on. Start to work with it to help calm it down so that you feel better, but always start to look for what else may be happening. Could just be that you have to modify your diet. You've got to slow your life a little when you're consuming anything. Could be that you are in an environment that's a little bit too toxic and that's how it's coming across. So there may be some real minor modifications that you can do that help you. There may be more major things going on. Blood tests will help you to start to see if there's anything major. Go see your doctor, your GP, whatever, and start to investigate different things. But I wouldn't go from, I've got a bit of indigestion when I finish eating, straight to taking a tablet or something without understanding what else is going on first, okay? So have fun, and I will see you guys again in a week. All right. See ya.